If you guys ever get a chance to come here, check out this barn. It's amazing. The sheer scale and size of it, it's just huge. Probably, 16 foot or maybe 20 foot ceilings. But the woodworking, the art, the ribs, the architecture, if you want to call it that, I haven't been in very many barns. But this one here is breathtaking. I wish this camera was a little more high def and detailed so you guys could read about some of the members of the family and some of the write-ups on them. As time progresses, this museum, this barn definitely has space for new exhibits and more displays up here. Unless, given the piano and the tables, the fact it's got power and wired with lights, maybe they use it to host events, and that's why they want it open like this, so they can have weddings or so here. (1938) Oliver Standard 70 Hart Par. Just imagine the hours that a person put in on these tractors, bouncing up and down in the field on the metal seats. No air conditioning, no power steering, really no hydraulics per se in the mechanics of the tractor. This wagon has a dump bottom on it. Must be for would it be hauling gravel, or would it be used for I don't know, rocks? Something that you move out somewhere and then dispose of? Most of the wagons that I seen as a kid were usually like this. They had the rubber tires, the wood center hubs, kind of like the I don't know, in between the old and new kind of a thing. 1941 wagon and box. Of course, most of the time when I seen those style wagons, they were already rotted into the ground, where these ones here with the wooden wheels and the metal rings were almost non-existent when I was a kid. And well, still, even this today, they're even harder to find now, you know, 35 years later. Now, given the modern equivalent that I've seen, this is a manure spreader. And this is very similar to what the similar design, similar style to what the newer stuff is. We got little plows and cultivators and diskers and all sorts of good stuff. Some of this stuff you'd hook behind horses, and the horse would do, well, wouldn't do the heavy work per se, but the horse would do the dragging. You would still have to upright it, steer the horse, kind of a thing. Now this one here is a 3-point hitch, so it'd be a little newer, but still older in itself. 1909 number 9 frost and wood mower, hook behind a horse, and kind of like a sickle bar style you see behind tractors. Now those wheels that I used to have at the house, I believe they were off something similar to this. Maybe slightly newer, because my wheels looked a little different than this, but I believe this is like a hay rake. Now they made a style to hook behind the horse or to hook up to a tractor. Various equipment for like separating corn, cleaning the wheat, stuff like that. Hoppers, feeders. I remember seeing some of this stuff around in the junk pile, but I've never really seen this stuff in action. Stay tuned, guys. There's a lot more interesting things to come. And this is the outside of that barn. Over here is the dark section that we walked in and back on. On the bottom floor there is where the wagons and stuff are. And straight ahead is where the lit section was. Of course, the ramp coming on down, we didn't go down. And on the bottom floor of that is where the tractors are. Every farm, yard, or even museum has a section that's always interesting with old, rusty, non-running, non-restored working machinery. And well, this one here is very much the same. There was a time where I would be knee-deep in that stuff, looking for projects or things to build things out of, but not anymore, eh? Has been cracked and welded. This here looks like a barn or so. Kind of the same style that I've seen around farms when I was young. Now this here looks like a house. Small little cabin. Some people raised a family out of something this size. This here looks like to be about 8 by 16 or 10 by 16. I had a shed in my backyard that was this size. This one here would have been a little more of a fancier house at one time. It even has a second level and an outside deck at one point. Looks like it was even a covered deck. However, that door might have been an after addition, after construction, but nevertheless, it's still an old addition to the house. This would have been a very beautiful home at one time. Very upscale, with the dormer windows and the log construction, or square log construction.